jam overflowing at Netflix headquarters. The New York Post reports products from her as ever range.
Guilty pleasure. I like the royal family. I like looking into it, for whatever reason. And I used to think that Meghan was kind of because she really was hear from her. And the more you just
following new claims that large quantities of her lifestyle brand products remain unsold and are now being quietly distributed within Netflix facilities. According to reporting by the New York Post, sources familiar with internal operations alleged that 2 storage rooms at Netflix headquarters are filled with products linked to Meghan Markle's lifestyle brand. As ever, the items reportedly include jars of jam, scented candles, specialty wines, and decorative food toppings, products that were initially marketed as exclusive, limited, and highly sought after. One source cited in the report claimed that Netflix employees have been encouraged to take the products for free, with at least one staff member allegedly leaving the building carrying several items at once. While Netflix has not publicly confirmed or denied the claims, the report has reignited a broader debate about whether the Duchess of Sussex's brand has struggled to convert media attention into sustainable consumer demand. The allegations stand in sharp contrast to the image, carefully constructed around as ever. When Meghan Markle first teased the brand, it was presented as an extension of her personal values: refined living, intentional design, and curated luxury. Promotional messaging emphasized scarcity and exclusivity, a strategy commonly used to create early hype in the lifestyle and wellness market. However, industry experts say that scarcity-based marketing can quickly backfire if demand does not meet projections. If a brand positions itself as limited edition, but inventory accumulates, it signals a disconnect between perception and reality. One former retail executive told us media in a separate analysis of celebrity-backed products. Meghan Markle's lifestyle ambitions were never meant to stand alone. They were part of a broader post-royal strategy that included multi-million-dollar media deals, public speaking engagements, and philanthropic branding through the RQL Foundation. Together, these initiatives were designed to establish the Sussexes as independent global figures, free from royal constraints and financially self-sustaining. Yet 5 years after stepping back from royal duties, results have been mixed. Several high-profile projects announced with great fanfare failed to materialize, while others struggled to generate lasting impact. Spotify ended its partnership with RQL Audio, and Netflix executives have publicly acknowledged that not all celebrity-led projects perform as expected. Against this backdrop, reports of unsold products take on added significance. Critics argue that they reflect a wider pattern: strong initial publicity followed by limited, long-term engagement. Public perception of Meghan Markle has also shifted dramatically over time. When she first appeared alongside Prince Harry, she was widely celebrated as a modernizing force within the British monarchy. Her background, independence, and outspoken nature were initially framed as strengths. However, polling data in the UK shows her approval ratings declined sharply after the Sussexes' departure from royal duties, particularly following a series of high-profile interviews, documentaries, and public disputes with the royal family. In the United States, sentiment has remained divided, with supporters praising her advocacy work while critics question her authenticity and consistency. Lifestyle branding, analysts note, is especially sensitive to public sentiment. Unlike entertainment projects, which can succeed despite controversy, consumer products rely heavily on trust and relatability. People don't just buy the product, they buy the person behind it, said one branding strategist. If the audience feels disconnected or fatigued, sales suffer. The Netflix angle has also drawn attention. The streaming giant once appeared to be a natural home for the Sussexes' ambitions, offering global reach and creative freedom. But insiders say the relationship has become more pragmatic over time, with performance metrics carrying greater weight than celebrity status. If the reports are accurate, the presence of excess as ever products within Netflix facilities may indicate that the brand was more tightly integrated into media partnerships than initially disclosed. That, in turn, raises questions about how the products were distributed, promoted, and forecast internally. Supporters of Meghan Markle argue that such reports are exaggerated or selectively framed to undermine her credibility. They point out that unsold inventory is a common issue in retail and does not necessarily signal failure. Without official sales figures or statements from Netflix or the full picture remains unclear. Still, perception matters, particularly for a brand built on image, aspiration, and personal storytelling. Even unverified claims, when repeated widely, can influence consumer behavior and shape narratives in a crowded marketplace. What is undeniable is that Meghan Markle's commercial journey continues to unfold under intense public scrutiny. Every new development, whether confirmed or contested, feeds into a broader conversation about celebrity entrepreneurship, media power, and the challenges of transforming fame into durable business success. And this is only one chapter in a much larger story. As questions swirl around Meghan Markle's lifestyle brand, Media analysts say the controversy highlights a deeper issue facing celebrity entrepreneurs in today's crowded attention economy. Fame alone is no longer enough. For years, the Sussexes benefited from what industry insiders describe as curiosity capital, intense public interest driven by their unprecedented exit from the British royal family. That curiosity translated into headline-making deals, including agreements with Netflix and Spotify that were framed as transformative partnerships rather than traditional content contracts. But curiosity, experts warn, is finite. Initial attention can open doors, said one US-based media strategist who has advised several celebrity brands. What keeps those doors open is delivery, consistency, authenticity, and a clear value proposition. Without that, audiences disengage. That dynamic may help explain why reports of Unsold as ever products have resonated so strongly. To critics, this story is not just about jam jars or candles. It symbolizes a perceived gap between messaging and market response. Lifestyle branding is particularly unforgiving. Unlike entertainment projects, which audiences may consume passively, consumer goods require active trust. Buyers must believe not only in the product, but also in the person selling it. People ask themselves, would I actually want this if it wasn't attached to a famous name? Said a retail analyst who tracks celebrity-backed ventures. When the answer becomes uncertain, sales slow. Public fatigue has also become a recurring theme in coverage of the Sussexes. While their early post-royal appearances were framed as revelatory, repeated interviews and projects revisiting similar grievances have drawn criticism for lacking fresh insight. In contrast, figures who challenge expectations, particularly in politics and culture, appear to be benefiting from a shifting media environment. The recent experiences of artists like Nicki Minaj illustrate how attempts at marginalization can produce the opposite effect. Minaj faced significant backlash after expressing views that diverged from dominant industry narratives, yet her music quickly surged back up the charts. Media researchers describe this phenomenon as a byproduct of decentralized platforms, where audiences increasingly resist being told whom to support or ignore. The same pattern has appeared in comedy, when performances by comedian Ben Bankus were reportedly canceled following controversial remarks. Online engagement around his work spiked. Clips circulated rapidly, introducing him to audiences who may never have encountered his material otherwise. These moments reveal a power shift, said a digital culture researcher. Gatekeepers don't control visibility the way they used to. In many cases, controversy fuels discovery. This cultural shift presents a challenge for brands rooted in tightly controlled narratives, where some public figures lean into unpredictability and rawness. Meghan Markle's ventures have remained carefully curated, polished visuals, deliberate messaging, and a consistent emphasis on aspiration. Supporters argue that this approach reflects professionalism, and critics counter that it feels overly managed in an era where audiences crave spontaneity and transparency. The Netflix partnership itself reflects this tension. Executives at the streaming service have acknowledged publicly that high-profile names do not guarantee engagement. As competition intensifies and subscriber growth slows, performance data now outweighs prestige in determining which projects move forward. That reality places added pressure on ancillary ventures linked to media deals. If products are bundled into broader brand ecosystems rather than standing independently, any weakness becomes more visible. None of this means Meghan Markle's brand ambitions are definitively over. Celebrity businesses often undergo recalibration, and unsold inventory alone does not equate to failure. Many successful brands endured early setbacks before finding the right audience. However, the current moment suggests a reckoning not just for Markle, but for celebrity entrepreneurship more broadly. The Sussexes' journey has become a case study in the limits of influence. It demonstrates how quickly public goodwill can erode, how narratives can shift, and how modern audiences respond less to symbolism and more to substance. 5 years after stepping away from royal life, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle remain fixtures in global conversation. Yet the nature of that attention has changed.